We are all beautifully imperfect.
You need to pay attention to what they're saying.
You deny your weaknesses.
When you get people to appreciate each other more, look out for each other more, take care of each other more, reduce the distance between them, then they actually work better together.
Employee happiness is an innovative approach to human capital management in the workplace. It comes a long way from personnel management to people management to now human capital management, and today we're talking about employee happiness. It's got a definition. We say happiness in a workplace means a satisfying, worthwhile job in a successful business. That's the full definition of what happiness means. Right, having clarified that, allow me to start with the introduction to this very interesting topic. I will be covering definition of pressure. Definition of pressure, it's not a scientific definition, it's not taken from any piece of academic writing. It's just what came to my mind when I had this theme to engage for today. And I defined it as pressure being what you could be, that it could be welcomed and unwelcome external force compelling and elevated exertion of energy, both mentally and physically, to achieve an expected outcome or a desired result. And I look at it both ways, because in one way pressure could be welcome, and that's when the interest in the outcome is high, and when the energy required to achieve whatever we need to achieve is within our control. So you love that pressure. And in that space, pressure is welcome. In other instances, it is unwelcomed, and that occurs when the interest in whatever you're doing is low, and the energy required to achieve what needs to be achieved is out of one's control. The situation can be exacerbated when there is enormous stress around what you need to be achieving. I see there's so much focus on the screen. I don't know if that's going together with what I'm saying, but that's just an observation. The truth is, the extent of pressure, and in unraveling this truth, I would argue that the extent of pressure that we face is largely in our minds. That is, we experience what we call more perceived pressure than the actual pressure that there is. So if we start from that perspective, I would contend that if we alter the way we're thinking, if we alter the way we're perceiving pressure, we would definitely reduce the larger percentage of the pressure that we are experiencing. Let's alter the frame of reference, and half of the pressure will fall off, and we'll have energy to deal with the very many actual pressure. Now, with the psychology of human performance metrics, when we love what we do, our body generates enough energy and creativity to do miracles with the work at hand. We'll see later on how we imaginatively engage with what we do when we love what we do. Okay. The other aspect is that when we know what we are, when we know that we are in control and we are self-driven, we are in charge of what we need to be achieving. Further on, we want to be challenged with the work. If the task at hand is easy and doesn't stimulate your thinking, doesn't require extensive thinking, we tend to get bored quickly. So we want to be challenged. Okay. Therefore, the pleasure in what we do also emanates from the difficulty of the task at hand. Furthermore, when the task or the outcome has a high reward, either directly or indirectly, directly in the form of the rewards, or indirectly in the form of fulfillment, we find ourselves highly motivated to do and to perform the task at hand. When the task involves learning, we always want to learn something. In everyday functioning, you want to know that you have learned something. And therefore, we are motivated to do the work at hand when we know we are learning something. I also mentioned the greater good. The greater good is when we know that whatever we are doing is to the benefit of the entire community or the society or the work, we get motivated to accomplish that task at all costs. That part, I call it the greater good. When we know that we are supported and guided in what we do, it's not only kids. It is not only kids who want to have that guarantee of support and guidance. We all rely on some comfort of being guided and being supported in anything that we do. And that in itself is a source of motivation to accomplish what we need to be accomplished. It has been proven many a times that when people are exhausted, they start to think of shortcuts. And with the shortcuts, they start to make errors, minor errors. It starts with errors. So how do you monitor that you are exhausted or team members are exhausted? You look for the signs of the first minor errors that occur, because it could be a repeat of the minor errors that will ultimately end up with major errors occurring. So look out for the signs of minor errors. Call for a short breather or a break in between, and then engage the task. So look out for exhaustion, because it will not dawn on you immediately that you are tired. You won't realize. But the first sign that you should look out for is that minor error that occurs. And if you persist and resist, ignoring that you are exhausted, you start to repeat those minor errors. And so on, and in a short space of time, many errors would have occurred. In the hospital and health environment, things like compliance with washing hands, start to sleep just washing hands. But when you're relaxed, it's early in the morning, you're starting with your work, you're excited about your day, wow. You forget, you constantly go wash your hands and so on. And later on, when you get tired with the work, there's pressure, that begins to slip. So exhaustion is very, very, very critical. We need to monitor that, and we need to tell ourselves, I need to take 5 minutes to take a breath and to relax a bit. Okay. The next aspect is reflection. When we reflect on what we have done, we are able to perform 20% better than our previous performance. Because when you reflect, your mind moves away from what you did, it begins to look into the task differently. You come up with better ways and innovative and creative ways of accomplishing better next time. And therefore, performance continuously improves from one day to the next. Because you give yourself time to say, how did I do? How did I perform? And so on, and so on. And that in itself, it stimulates your mind to think a lot differently. We got strengths, we got weaknesses. The tendency in the way we accomplish things is to try and work down our weaknesses. We focus our attention and energy into mitigating our weaknesses. And what happens to the strengths? They don't grow. You're not using your time and energy in growing your strength, in cultivating your strength, in performing from your strengths. You're spending time into thinking, because we're afraid of criticism. We want to be seen accomplished. We're afraid of failure. As a result, we focus on our weaknesses and spend time trying to work down our weaknesses. I'm arguing today that we need to start focusing on our strength and working from our strength and excelling and growing our strength. And when you do that and forgetting about our weaknesses, you tend to grow the space that your strengths occupy in your life. You tend to accomplish more, and therefore there's very limited space your weaknesses occupy in your life. You deny your weaknesses to occupy a larger space of your life because you're using your strength and you're accomplishing a lot of things. And in the end, you get what you were afraid to lose by trying to work down your weaknesses. You get that. You get that recognition. You get that motivation when you see yourself accomplishing by using and maximizing your strengths. Thank you. Now we move into the philosophical aspects of this talk, and I call it human capability beyond comprehension. In this, I contend that we are amazing species in the cycle of life, and we not only can adapt to our environment, but we can also change our environment to suit us. But also amazing is that we sometimes tend to cling to things that we must let go, and we fail dismally to hold on things that we must hold. So we do the reverse. Things that we must let go, we cling to them. Things that we must cling to them, we let go. And it's still working within that complexity of managing between the strengths and weaknesses. And then you tap into the team. That's the connection. And you imaginatively engage, that is, you play with the work. We'll see how play with work happens. And this is somehow an oxymoron, because you work and play. No, you're not here to play, you're here to work. Okay. So we also then, on the fourth part, we grapple and grow when we face our challenges and difficulties in our work environment. And then it comes fulfillment. And fulfillment occurs when we accomplish successfully what we mean to accomplish, or what we were meant to accomplish. Now, the psychology of motivation involves the following: that at any given moment we are motivated by the following: to achieve or to avoid. Can you see how it continuously linked to strengths and weaknesses? To achieve or to avoid. We're motivated when we want to achieve something. We also are motivated when we want to avoid something. In all of these connections, we need balance, some level of equilibrium. A good fit increases job satisfaction, it reduces stress, and it improves our focus and performance. How we attend to our work, how we attend to what we do. The journey of balanced connections, it's more about the cycle that I've just reflected on. So I'll skip this slide. Imaginatively engagement, that's play that I spoke about in the cycle. Play is, instead of mindlessly completing the task, the run of the mill, the usual run of the mill. You don't even think, you just do. You need to engage and change the course of what we do to accomplish the task differently, to accomplish the task better. The amazing benefits is that it stimulates in our brain the secretion of brain-derived neuropathic factor, a molecule that promotes nerve growth. That's the amazing when you play. Yeah. Play engages a clump of neurons that helps to regulate our emotions. Yeah. And then fulfillment is the last part in the cycle. It's an acknowledgement of achievement and fulfillment that leads to a neurochemical level, usually accomplished by the release of dopamine. I talk about these chemicals when I talk about happiness in our place, because we are designed to be happy. We are designed to be happy. And the reason I put it to us this way is that when we are happy, we're most of the time creative. We are mostly creative when we are happy. We are mostly energetic when we are happy. And we go extra mile in our work when we're happy. I say to myself that we lose ourselves in our work when we're happy. But when we are unhappy, because our body is not meant to be happy, to be unhappy, we get the secretion of chemicals that toxins our body. A lot of them you get You got non-age-related wrinkles. You spend sleepless nights. You just get sick by being unhappy because we're not designed to be unhappy. So that's the design of our makeup. But the challenge then comes with, how do we then achieve happiness under so much pressure that we experience? That's the challenge. With so much that needs to be done, how do we achieve happiness? And remember, somehow, because of this complexity of our lives, we tend to confuse fun with happiness. These are two distinct things. Happiness, I put it in these simple words, is what you feel when you are lying at night in your bed and you're thinking about yourself. And you say, I'm truly happy. When no one is around and you think about yourself and you can say, thank you, I'm truly happy. That's the happiness I'm talking about. And where does it come from? It comes from how we imaginatively engage with what needs to be done. It comes from serving others. It comes from developing a deep sense of appreciation. And it comes from giving. Giving is not easy. Nothing comes in life for free. So where do you get anything that you can give away? So it's not easy. But that's where happiness comes from. Waking up every morning and walking into the wards and doing what we do, it's challenging. How do we derive happiness in doing? By serving others. By serving others and ensuring that they get their lives back. That's where we derive happiness. When you see something happening, your colleague doing something, do you appreciate the good things that are happening? Or you say, you mitigate it and say, still it was going to happen anyway. We need to develop that sense of appreciation. Because in that, you then get those kind of good chemicals, the dopamine that your body, the life-giving, I call them life-giving chemicals, the life-giving chemicals that your body gives you. You will not get these chemicals any other way other than being happy. Let me conclude by this statement, that life is full of situations we can and cannot control. But our tendency as human beings is to worry and dwell on things we cannot change and do little or nothing about those that we can change. We propel and go about the errands of our life towards realizing our aspiration with minimal attention to changing our world for better. That's my conclusion of my discussion. Before Julian comes to the podium, our MC comes to the podium, I promised to share a poem. I didn't bring it with me, but because it's one of the first poems I wrote, I remember it. And it says, I have lived. And it goes as follows. I have lived my life to learn and to know, a perpetual struggle against pain and torture, to have understanding and observe skillfully the particles of complexity. I now pray to have wisdom, to observe the realm above the world we know and the pain we suffer. But in the end, when the hours crumble and the minutes